Welcome back to Berman and Berman. Are you ready for a little girl talk? For many, it's the easiest way to talk about sex.
That's right. Many of us talk about sex more with our friends than with our partner, and no one knows that more than the author of Tickle Your Fancy, A Woman's Guide to Self-Pleasure, Sadie Allison. Thanks
Sadie, masturbating lady.
Sadie, what prompted you to write Tickle Your Fancy?
You know, it's a funny thing. It actually started off as an arts and crafts project. I was always one to coach girlfriends in school throughout high school and college, and I became known as the little Dr. Ruth. And I got a kick out of it, and I was successful. I used to help people, and they'd come back and share their experiences with me, and I'd give them new tips. And then one day I said, you know, I've helped so many of my friends, I should take what I know, write a little pamphlet, and give it away for free, for fun, because I know it would help a lot of other women out there.
And how did you learn all these things yourself?
That's a good question. I was just very experimental. I explored a lot myself. I was always very uninhibited and unshy, so I used to get out there and I enjoyed sex. I was just one of those girls that used to explore.
What were your parents' attitudes, your caretakers' attitudes growing up? Did they encourage it or no?
At the time, they were really busy, and I was very out there. I used to play a lot of sports, and I was part of student council, and I did all these things at school, so I really wasn't that involved with my parents, and they didn't know about my little escapades on the side.
Your little side business.
Yeah. But then when I put this book together, they were really proud of me because it's actually helping a lot of people.
Yeah,
and they're seeing that I've
I mean,
taken
these were escapades with you alone, not necessarily, or was this with you and partners? Both? And that you learned these techniques through that? That's good.
Yeah, and talking with other people about it. I mean, I shared a lot of information, but I also learned too. And that's the power of speaking with people.
And what is your sense when you talk to women of the level of knowledge that they have about their bodies and about self-stimulation?
You know, it's really sad because most women don't know enough about their bodies to even be able to please themselves. And that's what I learned from my experience in talking with women, is that, you know, they don't teach in school. You learn the anatomy, you learn birth control and things like that, but when it comes to understanding the anatomy in a way where you can actually create orgasm, or what does it take to explore yourself, to learn what feels good to you. You don't ever learn that out there.
I think that's an important point, and I want to talk a little bit more, because we've talked some about how to talk to your partner, but girlfriends are a great resource, and even guy friends are a great resource for sharing information and for practicing communication, you believe?
Absolutely. I mean, there's been examples where I would talk with a girlfriend, and she would say something like, you know, I really like it when my boyfriend touches the left side of my clitoris. It feels really good, but I don't think he knows how much I like it, and I don't know how to tell him that because I don't want to hurt his feelings. Well, my first bit of advice would be not to say it while he's doing it. You always want to do it outside the bedroom, either over, you know, a cocktail or while you're eating. And I would just bring it up in a really light, jokingly manner. And talk about things maybe you do for him that he likes, and then in a roundabout way you can come back and say, hey, did you notice that when you were touching this one part of me, I was shaking a lot? But as we know, the main source of orgasm is through clitoral stimulation. You know, and I have a chapter in the book on 8, 9 different ways just to stroke the clitoris in different ways to induce orgasm. So that's the #1 technique.
So starting with the clitoris is always a good idea.
Always.
And what's the difference between talking about sex with your partner and talking about sex with your girlfriends?
Big difference. Your girlfriends aren't the ones that are trying to please you in the bedroom, so you can speak much more freely to them. And you can share things that you wouldn't share with your partner. And with your partner, you have to be more sensitive to that because he's the one that you could be putting on the spot.
Well, hopefully more and more women are going to be doing that, you know, these days at least, because probably so many live sort of silently, not really knowing how to talk about these things, not really knowing if they're normal or not having orgasms and not talking about it, and not really, you know, living full sexual lives. So I think what you're doing is really important, and hopefully, you know, it'll transcend through women of all ages.
Absolutely.
So are we getting the hang of it yet? Are you starting to feel good about talking about sex? In just a moment, we'll talk more, but this time you ask the questions and we give the answers.